gosh, every time I spend like 5 seconds away from making content, it always feels like I'm literally coming to like cast myself or be like, baby, I can explain, which I guess is the same thing, except most people that do that have already been casted, so there's also that. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, hi, my name is Bella. I make life and style content, preferably and presumably lifestyle content, and I'm happy to have you here. On this channel, I do try my best to be a little bit structured, but for the most part, I do make videos according to things that are going on in my life. I'm a pretty transitional person, and one of my joys is to share the things that I'm interested in as I'm interested in them. Just on a side note, for anybody that has been here for a while, I actually clocked recently that a lot of the content that I consume on YouTube and stuff, I naturally navigate myself towards things that relate to my life currently. So I noticed at a certain point in time, there are certain videos I just absolutely stopped watching. Like, for a very good example is like people doing like first pregnancy, their experiences, their labor and delivery stories and stuff like that. Because I feel like, and obviously this is not to say that I'm not going to have any other child, but like, because I feel like I've gone past it, things like that don't interest me. So I think I'm more interested in people that like I meet in phases that I can relate to. Let me know if you feel the same way. In phases I can relate to, and people that maybe I feel are ahead of me with certain experiences that I can learn from as well. Let me know what influences who you watch and the kind of content you consume on social media in general in the comments below. So today I am here with a Q&A. I've actually answered these questions before on my Instagram, and on that day I tried to record, but the way things were going, it was a bit difficult, you know, because I had been, not even because I had been drinking, because to be honest, it's not like I drank that deep or anything like that, but at the same time it was just very difficult to get things, like to wrap my mind around things and do like the IG part and do the YouTube part at the same time. So I promised myself that if at any point in time, and it's so funny, I mean, I think a lot of us, we have foresight and we don't know it, but this is the ideal video for me to make in the position I'm in right now, which is like I'm trying to recover from like being ill. I had been sick for like more than a week, which is very unusual for me. It feels like this is the first time I've actually been sick. I've actually been sick since I had Zoe. Like it has been quite serious, or it was quite serious, but I'm good now. I'm fine. I guess I would say that I'm still recovering, but in reality I'm hoping that I have already recovered. In my mind I've recovered, and I'm just waiting for the rest of me to catch up. That makes any sense. Probably doesn't, but we move. So lots of these questions were revolving around wedding plans, home, future, all them types of things. But then some of the questions also were pertaining to anxiety and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be kind of holistic in its approach. Like the questions are from everywhere, but majority of them are from like wedding, marriage stuff. And as I'm filming this video now, I am exactly 16 days from my wedding, so that's crazy. That's kind of crazy. And how I feel anxious. Who would have guessed that the person that has anxiety would be feeling anxious? Oh my gosh, guys, give me a bone for that one. I feel anxious. Like I'm excited because of all the people that I love and care about that will be around me at that point in time. Like my siblings are coming in this weekend. Well, 2 out of 3 of them. The other one is coming in next weekend. Like my uncles, like my favorite aunt is coming in from the UK. Like I'm just excited. I'm excited. I'm also anxious because like house stuff and things are still process of being ready. One of those, all those situations where like you can do so much to prepare, but then certain things are just out of your hands. That's kind of how it feels right now. So I'm just trying to focus on things that we can actually handle. I think that's what both Deji and I are trying to do. So let us get started with the questions, isn't it? Okay. So the first question here, which I feel like is something that I've spoken about for a while, and 2 years down the line, I'm still surprised anybody will ask. But then hopefully that means that there are new people on my social media and stuff. The question is why don't you show Zoe's pretty face? I don't show Zoe's pretty face because, in as much as I like to consume content, I guess, with other people's children, and in as much as I do make family content, I really just don't want her face out there more than it needs to be. Like, don't get me wrong, other people post her, like my friends and my family post her all the time, and Deji and I am more than happy to do that because, once again, it's a community that raises a child. But like for both of us, especially me, because my social media did start as one thing, and it's not a situation where it has ever really been clear cut as a personal Instagram. I feel like it's a bit different to put her on that. Yeah, I don't know. Like at the point in time when I feel like my Instagram, because I feel like now with how I'm winding down and stuff like that, it will come a point in time when it will be obvious that's my Instagram, or it will be obvious I have a personal Instagram, and on that one I'll have no issue, no qualms posting her. But like on my public domain or public figure Instagram, I just feel like, yeah, I don't really know what her business is there. I do post her on her birthdays though. Like I make posts of her and I post her pictures on her birthdays, but aside from that, I don't know. I'm not really interested in it. There was a point in time that like I kind of went back on it and I was like, man, what's the big deal? Let me post her and stuff like that. But like, I also feel like I really like the peace that comes with not being concerned about Zoe and social media. Like, not being concerned about anything that is going on with her image or anything like that on social media, at least to the amounts that you can control, because at the end of the day there's only so much you can control. But for the peace of mind part, like it just gives me peace of mind knowing that Zoe is not on social media. Next is, will there be brownies at the party? And this is one of my bridesmaids, guys. They tell me why she's asking if there are going to be pot brownies at my party. I want to expose her, but she's an influencer. She's an influencer, so I don't want to spoil her cred. But just know, girl, as you're watching this, I'm this close to casting you. I'm this close. Somebody asked, how is wedding planning going? 2 people actually asked, how is wedding planning going? And wedding planning, by this point, there are just like a few things to tie up. Wedding planning has gone, and it was pretty turbulent, I have to say, just because, once again, there's only so much you can control as an individual. Once you delegate things to other people, which is the right way to do it in my opinion, you have to just really hope for the best, because you cannot micromanage other human beings. That's a lesson that I've learned over and over again in life, and that's a lesson that wedding planning taught me as well. Is that like your planners, you would want them to do things in a certain way, but then they also have enough experience, and you just have to hope that their reputation is important enough to them for them to like act right and do things. So a lot of things might not be done in the way that you want, or in the timely fashion that you want, but at the same time you do have to lean back on certain things, and also know when to involve other people like involve your parents in the process and stuff like that, because it keeps vendors on their toes when there are parents involved, when there are older people involved. Next is how is moving going? To my right hand side right now I have like 3 Ghana Moscows, just a bunch of stuff. Across from me I have a bunch of folded clothes and another bunch of stuff. Our wardrobe, besides Zoe's clothes, my wardrobe is almost kind of empty right now, except the underwear part. Yeah, I mean, we're taking it one step at a time. We're taking it one step at a time. There's still like work going on in the house, so we're just moving things that we know cannot be affected by said work. Like we haven't painted yet, so that in itself is like a task, and we don't want too many of our things to be there before they paint, before stories will, stories that touch will enter. So that's another thing. But yeah, it's going. By the time we eventually move in, I don't know if we'll be moved in by the wedding dates, just because artisans they do the absolute most. But by the time we move in, you guys will definitely know. Like aside from the fact that like if you're following me on social media, the likelihood is that you will see this space and you'll see the process. I will also do my best, my very best. I want to say very best together. I want to do my best to document as much as I can, because it's a really exciting, nerve-wracking, yeah, because you're thinking to yourself, man, what do I do, or what am I doing that's so spectacular to warrant me to be able to pay rent, or not even if you're not paying rent in the place that you're living, to pay like bills. So like that's like my anxiety is that my business is still very new and there's just a lot that is still fresh, but I'm also hoping on God for more inspiration, more clientele, and yeah, I know that I'm the apple of God's eye. I don't doubt that. Like that's the one thing I don't doubt. It's just that sometimes you can't help but wonder where certain things are going to come out from. So yeah. Where is this question? Okay. How would you advise someone without access to therapy to deal with anxiety? This is a really good question. I think it's so sweet that the person that asked me this question actually apologized, because it was supposed to be like a really light-hearted Q&A and they asked me this question, but I really didn't mind, because this is something that we're living with. Like anxiety is something that coexists with me, and so even in my light-hearted moments, it's still something that I have to account for, and that the people that love and care about me have to account for as well. So in that regard, there's always time. There's always time to talk about anxiety, baby. Okay, so what I would say is, because I'm in a similar position now, I can't afford, not even that I don't have access. I have access to therapy, but I can't afford it on my own. And right now, moving out of the house and all these other things happening, I'm trying my best to live a lifestyle that is sustainable to me, that I don't have to be running back and forth. Like, granted, in this generation of millennials, we have the opportunity to kind of lean on our parents to a significant amount, but just because you can lean on somebody doesn't mean that you want to. So there's that. So yeah, I'm trying to keep myself as minimalist, as sustainable as possible, until we settle in and stuff like that, and then we can now review and see what's our priorities for us and stuff like that. First thing I'll say, which is something that I have encouraged, my husband Deji doesn't deal with anxiety, but this is a really, really good outlet naturally, and it is to work out. Working out releases a lot of endorphins, it releases a lot of tension from your body. You'll be surprised how free you feel with working out. And it's not just because of working out. I think it also has to do with establishing a healthy routine that works with you and sticking to it. So a lot of people experience anxiety in the way that you feel like there are so many things that are out of your control, and your mind is always wandering towards the things that are out of your control. A way to kind of curb that, because you can't really combat it on your own, I don't know. I'm only speaking from my experience, please don't shoot me. Is to create a good and healthy routine. Every time I am off my routine, let's say I fall sick or something, like now, this week, I've been off my routine. I have not done anything that has fed me. Like, I've barely prayed, I haven't worked out, like, I haven't journaled, like, things that I do on a regular basis to feed myself, I haven't been able to do. And it's showing on me, like, it's showing by the fact that I have makeup on now. Like, it's a thing of, like, constant concern for so many people. Deji sat me down last night and was like, are you okay? Like, is there anything I can do? And it's one of those things where, you know, it has to show. Like, when you don't have a coping mechanism, then things will fall through the cracks. And I think even before going forward, something that I have to say about mental illness that I feel like a lot of people don't really address, and I feel like they should, is the fact that when you have any form of mental illness, you spend so much of your time pretending to be normal and pretending that everything is okay. And the people that experience mental illness are the ones that tend to be more uppy and tend to be more present, or look like they are more present, look like they are more uppy, look like they are more excited, because we're always constantly overcompensating, and that becomes your personality. When people accept it as your personality now, and all of a sudden you are off from that personality, it becomes a thing of, you've changed, like, what's wrong, what's going on? Meanwhile, this is actually your real this is actually your real self. Like me, I'm a talker, like, especially when I'm anxious, I talk and I'm like engaging and I love having conversations. So I look like I love having conversations. So the days that I go places and I'm quiet and I'm just chilling by myself, enjoying my own presence or my own company, it turns to a thing of like, what's wrong? This is unlike you. Most of the time, you really don't know people that have anxiety. You don't really know them. Anywho, back to the question. So I think the first place to start, which is what I said on my IG story, is before you get to these routines and establishing like healthy things to do with yourself, is I think that you should, and I would say it's a pinch of salt, but I think that you should attempt to figure out what kind of anxiety you have. It's more difficult to do when you do not have a therapist, but it is not impossible to at least get into the range of what could possibly be going on. There are lots of tests out there. Some of them are bogus, some of them make sense. I know this because I worked in a mental health facility and I had the opportunity to take another test, because by the time I worked in the mental health facility, I already knew that I had anxiety, but it was nice to still take a test. And I don't know if it's nice, maybe nice is not the word, but it was reassuring, last part, okay, I know what is wrong, to take a test and figure it out, because there's so many different types of anxiety. There's general anxiety, there's anxiety that can be triggered by one particular thing, there's trauma-based, like, there's so many different things that could be going on that have put you in a position where you have anxiety. And once you find out, even when you're doing your searches and stuff, which I mean, people recommend that you don't Google search and stuff, and that is amazing in a perfect world where you have access to all this information, and that your primary health care has a psychiatrist on hand and a psychologist, a clinical psychologist on hand that can ask these questions. But in a place like Nigeria, you do have to rely, even if just slightly, on the internet and what it is that other people are experiencing. Sometimes it is by reading other people's experiences that you figure out, one, that you're not alone, and two, what exactly is going on with you, and figure out how other people cope as well. So the internet is your friend. What I would say is just try and monitor your intake of internet things. Don't go to like 10 different sites, they're saying completely different things, and take all of them in. You can pace yourself and do like one thing at a time. One thing that I learned that has been really helpful to me, especially, this is when I'm really on the bend, when I'm already having an anxiety episode. It's something that DG really helps with as well. And it is like I always need somebody to hold my hands and to literally breathe. I need to watch somebody breathe in and out, and then I need to start mimicking what they're doing and breathing in and out to get my heart rate down. Because when I have an anxiety attack, it literally feels like, why does it feel like this whole video is going to be about just answering this one question? It literally feels like my heart is going to pop out of my chest. It kind of feels like a panic attack, except I'm thinking all these things I can't say out loud. Like I'm thinking, oh my god, what if this person just dies? Oh my god, like what if I can't do this, or I will never be able to do this, and like stuff like that, Sha. So it does help to do breathing exercises. It helps to do breathing exercises. It helps to have somebody or something that reminds you of who you are and like where you are. Because sometimes when you get into that mood, you forget, you kind of lose track of what reality is, and days start to pass and you don't realize that you're still in that same mind frame, because once again you're so good at like covering up. So one thing that I do is that I don't let everybody know, but now I make sure that anytime I'm in that position, I at least tell whoever it is, 3 people that are the closest to me at that point in time emotionally, I'll tell them. And a lot of times I end up saying things like, I'm not feeling well, or I'll say things like, I'm feeling off. Like I say particular things that I would not ordinarily say, so that they know that, okay, it's about to go down. Because it really does affect like your family. It affects your family. It affects your friendships. It's like if people are not open to kind of figuring you out and like, you know, being able to tell when this is you and when this is not you. Because some people just don't have the time to figure that out. You do something and they just take it as, yeah, that's just part of your personality, when it might not be. Yeah, so you do have to appreciate the people that take out time to understand you, because you will be erratic sometimes. You will snap at people. Something that I do a lot when I'm like getting to that point is that I don't ignore, but I don't pick up phone calls. Like, I don't pick up people's phone calls. We can be the best of friends, and I will not pick up. Like, your phone call will ring so many. The phone call will ring so many times, and I just won't pick up. The only person that I promised myself that no matter what I have to pick up is DG. Everybody else, like, your call can. And the worst part is that instead of, when I finally speak to you, instead of just admitting that that was what was going on, I probably will say I just didn't see it. Like, I'll just lie to cover it up, because at the end of the day, anxiety is, it might not be embarrassing, but it feels embarrassing. It feels like anytime I get to the point where I have to explain to another human being that I'm experiencing anything that is out of the norm, I feel uncomfortable. Like, I feel uncomfortable because a lot of people are not open-minded to understand. A lot of people feel like you're making excuses. A lot of people are just generally insensitive and they can't help themselves. So, yeah, it's a lot. I feel like there needs to be some kind of network. There needs to be some kind of network for people that are going through stuff, especially mental health wise. Just to let it out and to speak and to just say your truth. Like, that's one of like my most serious things that I do that is wrong when I'm in that phase, or when I'm at that point, is like I would just ignore people, even if it's an emergency. Like, it gets so bad sometimes that, like, even if it's an emergency and I have an idea that is an emergency, I can't bring myself to interact with you. I can't bring myself to speak. Like, there have been times when, like, there was one time maybe some months ago, my sister and I were in an argument. Somebody had done something to her and it really hurt her feelings. And I didn't really understand why it hurt her feelings. And that's something that happens to me a lot. I'm a very empathetic person naturally. But once an episode begins, and an episode can last for weeks, it can last for days, it can even last for just like an hour or 2 hours. But it's just basically when your hormones are just they just tweak a little bit off, and then all of a sudden you go from being like an over emotional person, somebody like me now, that like I just came back from my daughter's school and I was watching ballet and I was so full of emotion and stuff like that. So I can come here and somebody's bleeding in front of me and I just like morally I know that this is wrong and it's unfortunate, but like I feel nothing, but I still have to pretend that I feel something because I don't want to be looking like a psychopath. Which, to be honest, is a mental illness in itself. So it's not actually something that people should be joking about. But like, you don't want to give off the impression that you are something that you're not. That's pretty much what I was trying to say. So it's difficult. It is quite a struggle. It's like an everyday thing, but something that does help me is trying my best to be as expressive as possible. Sometimes it hurts. It literally feels like I can die if I say something about it. It's almost like the way that some people feel when maybe the devil is talking in your ear and he's like, don't tell anybody or I'll kill your family, that kind of thing. That in itself, I mean, it's whatever it is, but like that's the best example. Like anxiety kind of tricks you into thinking you should not talk about it, especially when you're having an episode. It's almost like a taboo thing for somebody that has anxiety to like be going through something and be like, yeah, actually right now I've never done that. I've never done that. And if there's anybody out there that has, please let me know how you got to that point where you were able to do that. The best I've been able to do for myself is just give people indicators without actually saying those words. And yes, it makes it difficult, but it's one of those things where if you've signed up to be friends or to love somebody that is going through something, all we can really do is appreciate you. We can't give you a cookie every time you get it right, but we definitely will appreciate you. So yeah, I know I diverged so far past the question. Sorry guys, hold on. I diverged so far past the question, but I just felt like this required its own, like a whole rant, and that's exactly what I did. I gave you guys a rant. So in order for this video not to be too long, because it's already long as I'm seeing it right now, I will stop here and I will do another Q&A sometime down the line to answer other questions. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for understanding me when I don't like respond immediately to your comments or when I don't answer messages and stuff like that. And thank you. I also hope that this video gives a bit of insight into what people with anxiety, well, some people, I can't speak for everybody, goes through when they see certain things. Like you would feel like a normal person would be excited when you're responding well to what they're doing, but like for certain people it can feel very overwhelming. It can, like, you want people to like appreciate what you're doing and stuff, but like it also feels overwhelming to you. So yeah, that's pretty much me on an everyday. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Do not forget that you are sugar, you are spice, and you are bomb ass jollof rice. I totally love this. My outfit today was completely unintentional, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Bye.